I'm going to create an entire solo cinematic B-roll section using the new Hohem M7 gimbal. There's just one little thing here. This is definitely not the way that Hohem intended this gimbal to be used, and the only thing that I'm concerned about is if this gimbal is actually going to survive this video. Check out how epic this location is that we have come out to. Pretty cool. Lights looking good. Porsche is looking good. Nice to finally get this thing actually out and have a little fun in it. Basically what we're going to be doing today is creating an entire mobile video on my phone using this brand new gimbal from Hohem. It's the M7, and this gimbal, I don't say lightly, will change the way that you capture mobile content, especially if you're filming by yourself. It's got some crazy features that we're gonna go over in this video while we show how we actually capture our scene, and then show you the finished video once we've filmed it all. We're gonna start off with shooting the car here, and then we're gonna get these crazy driving shots that I'm so stressed about, but let's get into it. So one of the most important things about shooting any video, like always, is that we need a bit of a sequence or kind of like a thing to be happening in our video. So like I mentioned, our little story is gonna be that we're coming down this cool road of me driving this car. Everything's gonna be filmed solo, and then we're gonna get here and we're gonna kind of get out of the car and enjoy the view, get some shots of the car. There's a huge chance that this entire phone and gimbal setup might get smashed on the road, and that's kind of why I'm filming this stuff first, because then at least we've got that, and then if this ends up committing suicide onto the road, we at least have the rest of the video. So let's get into it. My idea for this scene is that I want some opening shots of like this peaceful environment and then the car. So we're just gonna get a couple of like establishing style shots of the environment around here, give the viewer a bit of context as to where we are, getting some nice foreground. Just do a nice lift up. Maybe a fully zoomed in one of down here. Just some nice still shots, not really anything too crazy. And then one maybe kind of looking into the mountain here. Super cool. These rocks are quite cool, kind of foreground elements. So I'll just get some of this. Little still one of this puddle right here. I think it's cool, it just shows like the stillness of the place. That's kind of the vibe we're going for, is it's all still, and then all of a sudden this car comes through and just goes whoa and drives down the road. So you can get one here. Nice shot of the water. Where this gimbal really shines is there's this little removable remote, but it's not only a remote, it's actually a monitor as well. So I can go into this monitor and I can literally see what my shot is gonna be framed up as on the screen, which means if I wanna film anything of myself, I can check my framing on here, see what's kind of going on, make sure it's how I want, and then even hit record on this little monitor, which is amazing, and that's what we're gonna do right now. So I can check on here, I'll get in the car, and then I can make sure that this is how I want it, which it is. So now I'll hit record and I'll get out of the car and I'll have that shot. Next we're gonna cut to this like kind of super wide shot of the car, and I'm gonna do the same thing and kind of just get out and walk to the other side. So again, I'm gonna just go from here, of kind of closing the door and walking around. I want to get a nice shot of me kind of being on the end, sitting on the car there. So we're gonna set it up here, and then I can use this little remote again to just see how my framing is. That's perfect. So I'm gonna walk in and just sit here. I want to get a bunch of shots of like just the car, and I want to try this really cool kind of time warping, speed ramping effect where it kind of wraps around the car and shows a couple of details. So I'm going to get some shots of the car by itself now, and something that is really helpful is the tracking that's on this device is not only for facial recognition. You can track any object or anything by just selecting it on our little monitor right here. So if I select something, it's gonna use this little external camera to track, which is great because you can turn this around and face it either direction if you want to do tracking. And then it's not reliant on your camera phone to track. So if you want to use your back angle but still film yourself, you can use this to turn it around and you can still get that tracking and use the high quality camera. So we're gonna kind of just race around here, film like a bunch of shots with lots of cool movement, keeping them mostly in the same direction. So what I can do here is go onto the car. Say if I wanted to film a shot of this badge, I can literally track the badge by selecting it and then hit record, and the gimbal's gonna just follow that badge without me even doing anything on the gimbal, which makes it so easy. I could literally like not look at it and it would still just track the same thing. Easy. Get some super cool shots with this logo. And we're doing lots of movement in these because that's how we're gonna use them afterwards. Sick. Looks super cool with the background. Get one into POV mode so we can start turning the camera around like this and it follows us, because I think that's gonna look really cool. We want to start coming in like this and doing kind of weird shots like that. And when we cut these together with some speed ramping, they're gonna look super cool. We're not putting in too much crazy effort into the thought. I just want to get, for the most part, like a couple different ones, and I'm going left to right. And we can actually see the reflection and pan up and see the car. Let's get a classic one of the wheel, like spinning in. I'm using lots of the POV mode. I think that'll be sick. I want some cool interior shots of like changing gears and stuff, and instead of trying to do that while I'm driving, I'm just going to do them while I'm parked here, at least some of them. So the first one is I want a nice kind of gear shift shot where I can just kind of pull down on the gear like that, and we're going to insert this in the like kind of fast part of the video. So I'll pretend I'm in gear there and then go. Cool. Let's try to get a straight top down one. Okay, that looks super cool. Some of the other things are, I'm gonna get some shots of my kind of feet just changing gears. So if I go down here, and yes, I know I'm barefoot, we can go. So our first actual car shot is gonna be of the car driving into this empty road. So I brought this little light stand, super nice and simple, just so I can elevate this off of the ground a little bit. We're gonna put it here and get a shot of this empty road, and I'm gonna drive into frame like that. So we're gonna have it like this. And the nice thing is I can take this little remote and make sure that my framing is going fine. Here's the part where we start to get really, really sketchy, because I have this little suction mount to suck onto the car so we can get shots from outside. Now this is definitely not designed to take an entire gimbal. It's for small cameras. So we're gonna see what we can do. And we're gonna try and get this on the car here like this. Let's plug it down there. And we can lock it in. Okay, so here's what we've got. Stuck on with these little suctions, and then the gimbal is set up to frame me. I'm gonna take the remote, and then while I'm in the car, I can make sure that my framing is correct. I can look at it, and we're gonna get a couple of shots of me kind of driving around. I can also adjust my framing with this little joystick whenever I want to move the camera like this, make sure it's right, and then we start filming. Hopefully this thing doesn't fall off. We're gonna drive down the road. I've got my framing up in here. We can see that it's good. And now we're just gonna drive along, and hopefully it's all still there when we stop. You stay right there, camera. Okay, should be fine. Okay, we've got some different framing, kind of the bonnet. See how that looks. just need a little piece of it. Okay, one from on the roof. And the next one I'm gonna do is from like the side of the door here. I'm gonna put it here, kind of looking forward. Let's see if we're like this. Should be cool. And I can at least just keep my eye on it over here. Kind of like this. We get this line in the shot, it looks super cool. That should be pretty sick. The next thing that we're gonna do is get a couple interior shots of me driving and kind of looking out the windows. So I'm gonna handheld it a little bit, just for some parts. Like, maybe get this rear view mirror a bit. Cool, shot of the steering wheel here. And I'll add some movement because I can. We'll get some gear shots, some steering wheel shots. But man, I want some shots of me driving. And the way that we're gonna do that again is because we have this nice little monitor, I can flip this around and I can just make sure I'm getting a nice shot of myself. That looks pretty cool. And we can just get one or two more driving ones. Okay, another shot like that. Okay, that is gonna be all of the shots that we need for this. So let's head back to the warehouse so we can put this video together and I can show you how it actually turned out. Back in the warehouse, I think we got some really cool shots. That was really fun to shoot. And let's take a look, as promised, at the finished video and how we managed to put it together after we've edited it. This little gimbal made getting dynamic shots all by myself so much easier. The monitor and the little button and everything is an absolute game changer. And if you want to find out anything for yourself about the Hohem M7, it's going to be linked in the top of the description. Let's roll that video. I'll see you in the next one. Have fun. Bye.